3.22, so let's get started. We do have, 1, 2, 3, we do have a quorum. We have Judy online on Zoom. Steve, are you there? Steve? Hello? Steve? Are you there? Evidently not. So I need to leave. Martin, do I turn this off when I'm not talking to Judy? Okay. All right. So we will call the meeting to order, and if you would please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, if you are able to. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice. All right, I will read the meeting procedures statement. The governing board and its committees conduct all of their meetings in compliance with Arizona Planned Community Association open meeting laws per ARS 33-1804 and in concert with RCSCW bylaws, policies, and standing rules. Parliamentary procedures, as outlined in the most recent edition of Robert's Rules of Order, will also be followed in all meetings as appropriate, consistent with Bylaw 3.07, Procedures for Owner-Member Meetings, and Standing Rules number 2 and number 3. Okay. All right. So, are there any changes to the minutes from the October 1st meeting? Any changes? No? Then those will stand approved as written. Okay, some new business. The election packets we started passing out this week, the first business day in November. They are available. So we've had 3 days now to pass out, and that will continue through the end of December. Any packets handed out will be due back to the governing board executive assistant by the first business day in January, along with the 500-word or less biography from the candidate. So, the candidate orientation guide, that is our main topic today to discuss and review. Everyone should have a copy of that. I had gone through it and redlined a couple of things, but since then I've had some additional input. So we'll go over those as well. So did everybody get a chance to look at that? And did anybody have major changes? I don't have it. No, okay. No, this is not the, yeah, no, this is the candidate orientation that we'll be doing in January. Okay. Okay, Susan.
Just on page 4 of 8, when we did have some nice clarifications on the 4th line, starting with designated common area, it says all political activity by members should be limited to those posted areas. I would suggest that we make that not a should, but a shall, because we're suggesting there's an option there.
Okay, I'm
so
sorry.
That's just
which we're about
page 4 of 8, under permitted and prohibited areas, times for campaigning. Under the highlighted area, 4th sentence, I guess you'd say designated common area.
You want to change that should to be shall?
The should to be shall, because the should implies that they have a choice, and I think the intent is that they don't have a choice. So, just a legality.
Okay. Okay, so in the interest of clarifying and simplifying a lot of this, I think there is more that we can do. It does not change the content or the meaning of it, but it does simplify it. to the candidates. So on page 3 of 8, under the heading Publicity, that very first sentence that says election details / updates will be announced in RCSCW electronic and print media. End it right there. We don't need to say, we don't need to itemize the Facebook page or any of that. Okay? Any objections? Okay. Okay, on page 4 of 8, under mid-page, the 1, 2, 3, 4, the fourth line down, under the note area, it says campaigners may not follow, harass, or argue with residents. Add this: chartered clubs may not invite or allow candidates or their campaigners to advocate for or against candidates inside club facilities. I think it's really helpful to spell that out, because I know that's a problem. I know that happens. It's happened in the past. I've observed it myself. So let's just be real clear about that. And then 2 more down, where it says campaigners may not interfere or tamper with the campaign material of other candidates. Campaign materials may not be left on or posted on association property, except as defined below. So people can't go out and hang up their own little flyers anywhere on rec center property. And we just want to make sure they understand that.
Sorry, Kathy,
Yeah.
I don't think we define it below, so we might just cut that last part off.
Okay,
Do we, I don't think it's allowed to be posted anywhere. We used to have the golf course, I think that's where that came from. But I don't think
Okay.
that's,
so just except as defined below, we'll delete that. Okay, this next page, next 2 pages, I'd like to delete a lot of this stuff. So I'm just going to read through it, okay? From the top. Campaigning is allowed in accordance with L13, authorized use of association property for association-specific political activity. Campaigning is allowed on association property only in areas specifically marked with a sign stating it is a designated common area, or in conjunction with an event if explicitly provided for during an election cycle. A list of approved events will be provided to candidates during the election cycle. This is new. I don't think we've done this before, but there are events that a lot of candidates may not be aware of, that they can go and campaign, that will, it's not something that's provided by the election committee, like the tent we plan to do at Munchie Monday, but they can go if they want to. It's an event that they're welcome to go and campaign if they want to, or petition if they want to.
Will they have a list of those events available?
Yes, we will. We'll get those from the event from Casey.
From Casey, okay.
She'll provide those, and we'll have those during orientation. They'll be part of this packet.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Hey Kathy, this is Judy.
Hi, Judy.
Yeah, just a question for you. If there is a list of events they're allowed to go to, what if other things crop up? Seems like they were able to find lots of things last time.
This won't prohibit them from doing other things. It just provides a list of places they can get started in case they're not aware of them.
Okay, so it's not only those events.
No.
But it is a guideline.
It's just a
Okay.
guideline. It's some options for them to consider,
Okay.
okay?
so are you saying you want to leave it wide open that any event someone could be setting up before or after or during the event outside?
No. But if there's some event going on that we haven't told them about, that that fits in the guidelines. I don't want to prohibit them from doing that. I mean, I don't know what that might be, but what's the concern? Do you think that we can identify every single event that they could go to?
I think if they submit a request for, hey, can I be at this event, we could certainly, as liberally as possible, we would allow them all. My only concern would be is if they saw an event that maybe it's a private event, maybe there was a rental, but they know it's going to get a big crowd, maybe a very big crowd, and we may not want to have the two mixing. We had a big rally out front a couple weeks back. Not saying we'd have to do it that way, but if we wanted to give them as many as we can, it'll help those that don't know all the events that are possible. And then if they come up with additional requests, we could certainly consider those. Or you can leave it wide open and, we just hope there's no crossover on different events where there may not be easy egress and.
So I like that suggestion. We give them as many events as we can identify, and then say, if there is another event that you want to participate in, please get it approved. Submit a request and we'll,
And then if they do that, once they get it approved, then we would have to contact all of the candidates and let them know that this is another event that is going to be attended by somebody to make it fair for all to be there. Because like you say, if they don't know about it and they down the road find out that X amount or X percentage of the candidates were there and they weren't aware of it within a reasonable amount of being aware. I mean, you make an attempt to contact them, send them an email, you show that you at least made the attempt. That way it's fair for everyone.
okay?
So, and I think this is a way of trying to define those other areas that are not common designated areas. So any common designated area, even if there's an event, you can be there at any time, event or not. It was the awkwardness of trying to define open air versus hallway versus if the event's in use versus not in use. And it just was, how do you cover something that's as expansive as our facilities? In addition, our facilities might change. So what becomes a common area not? So we have a designated or more common area at every single rec center. They can be there anytime. And then in addition, the events, mainly like Beardsley Park, or maybe there's something happening at the Great Lawn or the pool that's not a designated common area. So I think that was the intent behind clarifying that.
Okay. So, all right, so we will give them a list, and if they find someplace else they want to participate, they can let us know, and we can either say yes or no. Okay?
And it's just a suggestion. We can go back to the original language if that works better.
No, I like what you said. Okay, so getting rid of all the rest of it down to the very last line in that section that says for non-RCS-CW property, campaigning is allowed, as allowed by that business property owner. We'll leave that in. All that other stuff in between goes away because it's redundant. Okay? So no changes to the on election day section. Under campaign material, we'll leave the first line and then kind of change the next part. So it says, concerns, complaints about the appropriateness of campaign material should be sent to scwelection26@gmail.com. The election chair shall have final determination in whether the material in question may be used and what penalty may be imposed if the candidate refuses to cease its usage.
Hey,
Comments?
Kathy,
Yes, Judy.
I just have a question. Are there guidelines for penalties along that area, or is it just at your discretion as to when the situation arises, what you're going to do about it? I mean,
I have not seen any guidelines.
is that a concern? I mean, maybe not. I don't know. I mean, what would constitute you cannot continue to run versus just a little, gosh, maybe you don't want to do that.
I'm speechless.
So Kathy, if I can chime in, the law would not allow you to preclude someone from running, and that I think was the challenge in trying to define any penalties. This would leave it open if there were other appropriate penalties, like putting a disclaimer out on our media that said, you'll be seeing campaign material circulating, this was not approved, or something like that, but I don't think you could prohibit the candidate or otherwise penalize their ability to run in any way.
Okay.
But again, just a suggestion, because the idea of penalties, you can tell them no all day long, but if you can't do anything about it, why even have it in the orientation?
Well, and there needs to be some kind of penalty. Otherwise, anybody can go out and do whatever they want. And, what's the point of having guidelines in an orientation packet if people are not going to really try to follow the rules and be fair to everybody? So I think we should, Judy, to your point, I think there should be something that we can do. So maybe that is something we need to think about over the next month and come up with some ideas of what we might be able to do if people are not following the rules, short of saying you can't run, period.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just think we need it for consistency purposes too. I mean, if there are several incidents, several different people, we want to make sure we're, consistent.
Exactly, treating everybody the same.
Yeah.
So, okay, so that's an assignment for the next month. Merle?
We've been here before. Did we talk about this last year?
There's been some issues in past elections with, okay, they shouldn't do that, but there's nothing you can do about it. So it's kind of like the prior constraint of show us all your materials before we approve them. So what if you say no? They could do it anyway, and there's nothing you can do. So why have the prior constraint? Let them put it out there and then deal with complaints if they do come in. But yes, there is no penalties. It has come up before. I don't know what the answer is. I just know they have a legal right to run. So any other penalties or advisement you might want to do, I guess, would be up to you guys, and we could run that by the lawyer if that's something we needed to do.
Okay. Yeah, I really don't know what, but we can think about it. And
Turn on your mic, please.
oh, there could be. That would be helpful, Merle. Yeah, that would be helpful. Okay. Okay. The next page, 6 of 8. Yeah, we can.
Kathy, can we just back up to 5 of 8? I'm sorry.
Mhm.
On 5 of 8, where it states all campaign materials must be removed when the polls close, is that referring to signs as well? And I'm only asking because I believe Jim Riley told us that they had 3 days to remove it. And I just wondered if that should be coordinated, so it, just for continuity purposes,
Okay.
if the 3 days should be added to that.
And which? where are we?
It's the second to the last line on page 5. All campaign materials must be removed when the polls close.
Okay, I think that's a good idea. Yeah, within 3 days.
And you might want to say on private property,
On
because there should be no materials on our property, and we want them to know that per the law that Mr. Riley talked about, it would have to be removed from their personal property as well.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Page 6 of 8. Yeah, we'll delete that first paragraph. And we'll delete the paragraph that says that may be placed on golf course bulletin boards. That was a real problem evidently in the past, caused extra staff work, so that is not going to be allowed. Campaigners, the next sentence down, campaigners must personally hand physical campaign material to a recipient, that is, do not place material on car windshields or leave it unattended or post it on association property. They cannot do that. And all campaign materials on personal property must be removed when the polls close. And that's what you were talking about after 3 days on private property. Okay, and then questions go to this email. The email scwelections26@gmail.com. Katie, somebody in member services or who monitors that email?
I thought you guys came up with that email address. I was going to offer to provide a Sun City West address or a referral through Sun City West address, because I don't know who made that one up.
Maybe it was Luann.
Yeah, I think it was.
So,
I thought they had a phone, though. Didn't they have a phone number?
Could. We start getting too many vehicles out there, it gets difficult to keep track of them all and to have the continuity from year to year. The established email address for ballots and other election questions is vote@suncitywest.com. We normally don't start monitoring that until people start registering to vote. If you wanted to use that one, you could, and we would have to forward it out to you. If you want it to be independent of staff, we would have to come up with a different Gmail or something like that.
Here is that it's 2026, so it shouldn't have been something that Luann did,
oh,
you know.
I may have changed it from 25 to 26.
Oh, okay,
That's
okay,
entirely
so it
possible.
probably is remnant from last year then.
Okay. I think,
And I
But
think, pardon me, I think Luann set it up, so she would have had access privately to it.
I think having it go to the one you were talking about, Sun City West Elections, whatever that, vote@suncitywest.com. Is a better idea, and that way they can monitor it and forward whatever. That way we have continuity from year to year, so, okay. All right, we're down to page 7 of 8. Not much changed here. We really don't know for the candidate forums until we know how many candidates there are, how much time we can allow them, so that will be to be determined there. Down number 5, opening statements and responses will be delivered from the seat they are sitting at. They don't need to get up and go to the podium. Mics will be provided for each person. Obviously, everybody's going to have their own mic because they'll be sitting here at these tables. Okay.
Do you want to say they'll each have their own? I mean, if you have 20 candidates, our systems aren't going to allow for 20 different frequencies. So you might just say candidates will be provided a mic, because they could share one between 2 candidates.
Yeah.
So that we don't have to
just
keep
mic will
rewriting
be
this every
provided.
year based on how many.
Yeah, mic will be provided. So 20 candidates would be darn scary. Okay, page 8 of 8. Under voting process and election results, the only change there would be after the polls have closed. This is the third, number 3. Candidates may return to the polling place or another location designated by the election chair to hear the results. Any voter in line as of the poll's posted closure time will be allowed to vote. Candidates may not enter until the last voter has exited. Results will be announced approximately 15 to 30 minutes after the polls close. Guests accompanying a candidate to hear the announcement are limited to no more than 2 per candidate, unless otherwise limited by the election chair. And the reason for that is with as many candidates as we had last year, it got really, really crowded in the resource center. And there was a delay in getting the results because there was a little delay. So hopefully we'll have it, 15 to 30 minutes. It may take longer. I would like to hold it in the resource center if at all possible. I would not really want to move it over here or someplace else. So,
Yeah, it was a situation where candidates and their workers and staff and that sort of thing were outside of the resource center on the benches and that sort of thing, waiting because of the 50-minute time that it took to do things. So it did get a little crowded.
it did get a little crowded on the inside, for sure. Okay, are we good so far? All right. Appendix A, where to find meeting and policy info and videos. Basically, this has changed to the Governance Hub website, so almost all of this is gone. We just reference that website, which is so easy to follow and find information on. So I don't think we really need to spend a lot of time on that. Any questions, anybody? Judy, do you have any questions about that?
No, I think it's good.
Okay. So we'll kind of clean this up and finalize it. I'll send it out to you for a final review. What? Okay, yeah. Do you have anything to add? I'm anxious to hear, really. No, okay.
No, Kathy,
Yes, keep looking at
I'm
her.
really sorry to even bring this up, but I don't know why it keeps bothering me, but it does. Back up under the campaign material, when it says, "Do not place material on car windshields or leave it unattended," does that mean they cannot put them on houses if somebody doesn't answer the door?
That's private property, not rec center property. So legally they can. I'm pretty sure legally they can approach a home and leave something in the door. I wouldn't if there's a no soliciting sign, just out of courtesy. But we are not a gated community.
May I add?
Yes.
When James Riley came to speak to us, he said that they should not be doing it, but it is not illegal. If it has been done, they can, the homeowner can report it to the association, but usually there's not anything that can be done about it. So he said if there's a no soliciting sign, there shouldn't be anything, but they still can't really, we can report it, but there probably isn't something that can be done. So
Right.
I don't think it's within our hands. It's not within the law either.
Yeah.
So the statement about leaving it unattended, I don't know, will anybody confuse that other than me?
I hope not.
Okay,
I mean, during the orientation, if anybody has any questions about it, we can certainly try to clarify it for them. I
okay,
think, you can't leave it out. So if people wanted to put a card table out in a designated common area, they can't do that and just leave a petition there or leave their campaign flyer or anything.
uh-huh, okay,
That's kind of what it means to me.
yeah.
Okay.
But they could put them on houses if
Right.
nobody answers the door.
Yeah, if they have people
Okay.
who want to beat the pavement and go around houses and leave flyers, they can do that,
Yeah, okay.
okay? All right, so we are through with that. And let's see, we're down to 303, which is reminder, our governing board petitioner packet distribution assistance schedule. So what we've done, Ron and I have covered these 3 days. And from now on, Karen will be there and have the packets to be able to hand out. And I believe that she and I agreed that if someone comes and wants a packet, she can call and let me know. I can make arrangements to give it to them, or she can hand it to them if it's convenient for her. Yes, Ron.
And if I'm not, I told her
Yes.
today, if you're not available, to use my number as backup.
Okay,
So we're covered.
all right, very good. Okay, 3.04, Governing Board Election Voting Options and Associated PR. So one of the things that the committee recommended last year was for the governing board to clarify some of the voting options. There was a question about absentee, and I believe that the governing board is working on clarifying that. So we have 3 voting options. You can vote online, and this year you have a full week to vote online. You can do homebound voting if you are unable to vote online by yourself or come to the poll to vote, or you can come to the library to vote. So absentee basically is anything that is not at the poll. We're covered under that. So I don't see anything that really needs to be changed until they do clarify the bylaws and the policies for that. Okay, 305, our election dates. I'll just go through those real quick. So right now, we are in the petition, people picking up petitions cycle. That goes through January the 2nd. After that, they'll get their candidate photos the first week of January. We have the orientation and training on Wednesday, January the 14th. That will be in the village meeting room, 9 to 11. I think it's helpful if the entire committee is able to attend that, depending on how many candidates we have and the room available, but there should be enough room for all of us. And then in January 20th and 21st, they will do the stump speech videotaping. Martin is in charge of that. On February 16th is the Munchie Monday that we talked about having a tent set up for them. The candidate forum is on March 4th, Wednesday. That's 9 to 12 here in the lecture hall. I'll come back to another date here in a minute. The candidate meet and greet is on Wednesday, March 18th, and that's followed by the online voting, which starts on March 19th and ends on the 26th, and then Election Day is March 30th. Okay. We have 2 dates for you to add to your calendar. They will be closed meetings for us to prepare for the forum and go over questions. And those dates are February the 27th, 9 to 12. That will be in the village meeting room. And then on Monday, March 2nd, again, 9 to 12. That will be in the governing board conference room. We may not need all of that time, but hopefully we won't need any more time than that.
Do we have a day set up to open the online questions?
No.
I
We have a
did-
date that they need to submit by. I don't think that was on that calendar, though. We do have a date that they're supposed to submit their questions by. Yeah, February 16th, 8 a.m. through Thursday, February 26th is when they have to submit their questions. So let me ask you a question then. Do we go through and pick up those questions as they're submitting them, rather than waiting until everything's submitted, but we pick them up during that time?
Typically, I pick them up and compile them and bring them to the meeting. What happened last year was the date that the questions closed online fell in between our question meetings, and it made it very confusing.
Okay,
So it would be nice if we could start it and end it before that first question date. Is that too early, Katie?
We can do whenever. I mean, I can set it up now and give you the link and just tell me when you want it closed. So you guys tell me what you want on that date.
okay, so we have the questions ending on February 26th, and our first meeting, closed meeting, is the next day. Is that going to be,
I can have them ready. That's not a problem at all. I think the only question is when should we open it? When should we start? Which probably should be pretty quick in January then, right, Katie?
Yeah, and we can start promoting it. So the December Rec Center News actually deadlines this week. I could still get something in if you want to start promoting it in December. It's really early. Most people out of sight, out of mind until right beforehand, but we certainly can. There's no harm in doing it early.
so they can't start submitting questions until February 16th. So I think it's a little early.
I think they should be, our first meeting is February,
27th,
that's our first meeting?
our closed meeting?
Yes?
Yes.
Okay, so it should be then before that date.
Yeah, so we don't need to have an opening date. I'll just get something in the Rec Center News saying, here's a way to submit questions. All questions must be submitted by February 26th, and they can start whenever they want.
Yeah,
Does that work?
yeah. Okay, so we have a full schedule in February and March. Yes.
Being a newbie, I just have a question for you. Has it ever been thought of to shorten the cycle of this whole process and maybe start it in January, not in November? I just, whatever we accomplish between, or what happens between now and January just doesn't seem, I don't know, it seems like it could be starting in January, is just my point.
It's a really long election cycle. I agree. What do you think?
We did start talking about that a little bit, that 2 months before the end of the year, and then, almost 3 months into the 5-month cycle is awfully long, and there was a little bit of talk about shortening that down by maybe, if nothing else, at least 30 days.
At least 30 days, okay. I'm supposed to give a presentation to the governing board on Friday at the workshop. I will bring up that thought, because they would have to change the bylaws. But I think it's definitely something they should consider. It's just a long election cycle. I mean,
So we may want to get a legal opinion on that because it deals with voters' rights, members' rights. It may be something the members have to vote on, which means it would be something you'd want to put on the March ballot, if that's the case. So if you want that bylaw change, I would get that process started now, so that could be evaluated.
Okay. All right. Any other thoughts? Susan?
Well, my only thought is, do we have any data that tells us how long the petition cycle takes from the time a candidate picks it up until they can effectively have it completed and submitted? Was that schedule perhaps driven by that time that people needed in real time to complete the process? Or was it, that's a history, of course, we don't have. But
Yeah.
I mean, it seems to me that initially it would have been driven by something factual.
Yeah.
So,
And the people who are on the board and have run for the board would be the ones that would need to answer that question. How long does it take you? How long do you need? And is 200 signatures a magic number? Again, that's in the bylaws, but if we shorten the cycle, maybe they don't need 200 signatures. They need, obviously, you have to get enough signatures to make sure that a candidate is really interested and willing to put in the time that it's going to take to serve on the board. So,
I mean, the only thing historically, and I don't think this is the case, but if it coincided with a calendar year, if we used to be on one, I think we've always been on a fiscal year. And then obviously you'd want them to be able to collect those signatures when we're busy, but our busiest time is January through March. So I don't see any reason why we couldn't do it during that time. But again, these are questions that probably need to go to the people for a vote.
okay. Okay.
Kathy, just one other thing, could you also ask about why is magic number and not maybe 100?
Sure. I will bring that up.
I'll go with whatever, but
Yeah.
it's a thought.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, there may be a very logical reason for them to require that, but it's certainly not a percentage, I wouldn't think. So it's something for them to discuss and decide. All right, any other comments from the committee? Anybody? Nope. Okay. Any comments from the audience?
I would have a question, even though I do election. Was it driven, I mean, now we can vote from Wisconsin. So was it taken into consideration, made that long? Most of them were back by that vote.
Yeah.
Maybe driving a little bit.
Yeah, it could have been in the bylaws from the very beginning before we had online voting and.
Yeah, and we used to run it through the county and we mailed out those ballots, I believe. So that definitely could have been part of it.
Okay. Okay. All right. If there are no other questions and no other comments, we will, next governing board election special committee meeting on December 3rd, 2005. Our goal at that meeting will be to start to review the election guide, and I will get that out to you in the next week so you can have some reading material. Okay? All right, meeting adjourned.